amount in days, how many days the machine is running, and how many hours per day. That is the key factors that we work with. So in this case, this is the first page that we look at. I can pull down, maybe you could see down there, but here is a figure of 16,900 annual surgeries. That is the most important in data for me to know, and from that I can see how many machines is needed.
Excuse me, is it only just surgical? How about the other departments?
This is surgical. That is the most important. Surgical operations is the one that's pushing the washing and the sterilization. We will add medical beds as well, together with surgical beds. But the medical beds, they don't create hardly anything to wash and sterilize. So it's the surgical beds and surgical operations that is the main thing to enter. But we enter also the medical beds. But since we don't cut people in the medical beds, there is not so much to wash and sterilize. That's why the surgical part is the one that pushing the figures up. So, for example, if we cut for orthopedic, we do a lot of instruments. Of course, that creates a lot of need for washers and sterilizers. If we just treat the patient in medical, we don't need any instruments.
Like the dentals, they have a lot of tools.
Dental is not covered in this tool. Dental is something we do manually. So the dental this is of course CSSDs, and dental we need to calculate manually instead. So in this case, we put down 16,900 surgeries. This is a quick calculation way. We can see instantly how many washers is needed here, how many sterilizers, how many cartridges up here. Difficult to see, but shorter bar is larger machines, longer bars is smaller machines. So basically, if I take a number here, a turbo that is a large machine, 3.5 pieces of a large machine, that is for me 4 machines. Because this is with a constant flow of goods to the CSSD, and that's never happening. We have ups and downs to the CSSD from all the departments, and this is considering with a constant flow of goods. That's why we always take the figure from 3.5 up to the level up to 4 in this case. So washer, a big sterilizer, for example, 3.3. Okay, 4 probably. And I can take a different kind of sterilizer if that is closer. So I want about half a machine extra normally. So what do we enter? Well, if we zoom up here, we can play around with the figures. So we can work 5 days a week. If we could increase how many days a week, we can change the figures. We can change the working days and working hours. Basically, that is how much the machine is running. So if we go from 8 hours a day to 16 hours per day, we need half amount of machine. Because the machine is running twice as much. We have twice the throughput for the machine. So then simply that is going down. The media, steam or electric heating, that's also changed. That is 10 to 20% of the washer effect if I go from steam to electric heating. Then 10 to 20% more washers. That is seen directly in there. And also I can play around with the basket and container. Can go to the card washer or washer. If I move the basket and container from the washer to the card washer, much less washer is affected. So this one, we can choose where they go to. We can mix load, both the container and basket. So if we add some containers, we will need a bit more machines. Since it's longer process time to sterilize, it's longer process time to wash as well, since they're going to be washed after each process. And we can fine-tune if it's day surgery or inpatient surgery, endoscopy, and so on. So we can play around a lot with figures. We can do it very detailed or very easily with preset numbers. And if we change the water temperature, that will also affect the program. So even the water temperature, we can simulate how much machine is different if we lower or higher water temperature. And we can split into a small, different size of washer is even possible to split the loading into. So we can even simulate that, what will happen if we have 3 different washer sizes. We can see how many machines of that one, and that one is needed. It's not very common. It's more recommended to have the same, but then we have the same washer. And we can have different kind of trays, spree or beam trays, and see what's happening. And how much detergent is needed. We can also see how much is needed per year. So we can purchase the correct amount. So what we need is how many operations per year, how many hospital beds, surgical, medical, and technical. But this is the key figure, operations per year today. Since it's more and more day surgery, it's more important to have the operations, not the beds. And also how much do we work?
Emergency and these things doesn't consider numbers.
Consider
Emergency cases, and the emergency part.
We can't go deeper in here. I can show you next. I can do a sample. Next page. So we need to know how much we work, hours and days, and how many operation rooms. How steam or electrocuted, what kind of goods carrier, and reuse and dispose of them. Let's make it a sample. So now I've opened my program. It's probably easier to see a sample than to show it that way. So here I enter how many operations. This is the quick way. 20,300 operations up here. And immediately I get how many washers is needed. Can you see this one? Is that visible? Will it zoom in more? You start to see it? So here we see, in this case, 4.5 large washer. The index washer, we need even less machines. And the really small washer, we need a huge amount here. If we go to the sterilizers, you can see same thing. A normal sterilizer, 1.3 meter, 4.8 pieces needed. A longer, 2 meter long, 4.2. So that changes. This also depends if we use the spray basket or if we use basket or container. Container is more optimized for some sizes of the sterilizer. And if we look, we have 4.8 machine here. So what will happen if we go down? Now we work 8 hours per day. We go up to double, 16. Then we will have half amount of machines here. So we go to 2.3 machines immediately with one stroke. So we go from 8 hours to 16 hours, and half machines directly. So that is how the tools is working. If it works longer hours, the CCT, of course we need less machines. So we can't fit the machines in the CCT. We can play around with working hours, maybe elongate 2 more hours with the staff. Maybe we can have 2 shifts. And if we change the steam, we have 2.2 AT turbo, large washer. If we go from electric heated for a steam to electric, we will change that 2.2 figure 10 to 20% more. So 2.2 becomes 2.7. So then we increase it by using electric heated machines instead of house heat. So that is shown directly in the program. This is a nice program, and we can, here we have the cart washers. So we see, for example, even the small machine, 2-meter machine, 0.62 is needed there. And if we elongate it, we will need less. We have more space here. So here we can actually move over the basket and containers. And these bars will erase directly, while the washers will decrease. In this way we can play around with basket and container to move it between the two different machines. But this is the washer and cart washer. The sterilizer, they need to be where they are. There we cannot play around with this. Here we can really play around with the figures a lot to see what is most optimal.
But that we have to, when we design, because this is very critical, that if we go for the these things, will affect later on. If you want to go back, it is very difficult. But the design should be designed the worst case that chef then we just we need 4 machines, then you want to make it 2 chef, then you bring machine. But at least you have to place for the food in the future. You don't have to bring it from now. But at least it should be considered in the design.
Yes, this is always the first thing I do. I do first this one. Because it's first when I've done this, I know the size of the barrier, of the washer barrier sterilizer, and then I know the area, and then I can start drafting. Maybe I know I have 3 sterilizer, that is 1.5 meter per sterilizer, 4.5 meter I need to fit somehow in some direction of the drawing. This is always the first step, and from there I move on to drafting the layout part of this. This is first step, second step, 2D drawing, third step, perhaps a 3D drawing, and then boom list. Yeah. Sorry, I heard. Yeah. So do more. What kind of tools? This was the simple way. I'm going to do it more complex. This was the quick way. I'm going to empty this sheet. And I'm going to go to the more complex sheet. Here we have different general surgery. We have pediatric, plastic, thoracic, cardiac, trauma, and so on. And so I can go this deep to say that general surgery we have 50 beds, general surgery. And then the program estimates that we have inpatient surgery, 3,900 inpatient surgery and 1,820 day surgery. That is an estimation, and that can very easily change to say 2,000 if I like. So I can change, and maybe I have orthopedic, I have 100 here. Orthopedic, then they estimate these numbers of day surgery 4,940 and 3,640 day surgeries. But in the end, I also want to have some general medicine with medical beds. So we have 200 pieces, 200 beds in that. That is not creating any surgeries, of course. So there is blank numbers. So there is very small amount of books here. In the end, I fill in how many surgeries. So we have how many operation rooms. Say we have 14 operation room, for example, this is the check figure that I always check. How many surgeries per OR per day? That shall be about 3 to 6, depending on what kind of surgery we perform. That is the check figure I always check before making calculations. So I can change the day surgeries and what kind of surgeries to check that it's a reasonable amount. If we do eye surgery, of course, this can go up quite far. If we do orthopedic surgery, that would be quite close to that number. This is longer time and process. But the question, if I go to general surgery and go to the detail here with the instrument, I go to that here. We go to inpatient surgery. Here we have a specialty. That is checked by figure. Here we can, oh, it's difficult to see. Here we can see detail about general surgery. Here we can see what kind of surgeries that is estimated by the program, what kind of surgeries. So hernia repair, 2 instrument trays is used in this case as a default. We can raise that easily. Appendix, we say 21% is that, and 2 instrument tray, small intensity, 3 trays. So if we would like to have more, so it's divided in different categories. So I could go up to, say, 4 trays here, and that will immediately create more trays to wash and sterilize. So that is how we divide in different kind of general surgery. That is in that way we divide it down in these 6 different specialties. Orthopedic, if we go there, we have different kind of specialties. It's quite deep, we can go very deep or very shallow when we do it. If we look at the orthopedic instead, this is what kind of orthopedic surgeries we default use. So default is femur surgery, 10% of the time, 4 instrument trays. Much more trays for orthopedic surgery is calculated. So that's why we have different kind of surgical procedures in different categories, say 50 beds of orthopedic, 50 beds of eye surgery, then that affects a lot, of course, what kind of service if we get that. But we can get much deeper. And from that we see how many trays is processed, we know how many trays is washed in each washer, and how much is needed as sterilizer. And we can, in the end, go down to how much staff do we need. We go to the first page, and here is staff requirements. In this case, let me zoom it up. 7.9 people in this case. It's quite small CSSD, of course. And this is in the soil zone, 0.7. This is maybe not so realistic. Maybe I should put up the figures a bit. 115 euro surgery instead. And that is immediately raised into 12 people. 12.1 people in one shift. So if we work 16 hours, we need to think about 12.1 multiplied by 2 if we want to have 8 plus 8 hours. So 12.1 people. And in the soil zone, sorting 1.1. Clean zone, that is the blue part. So blue part, we see the transport guys, we need 0.7, trade preparation 3 people, utensil pack 1.5, single instrument 0.4. So basically we need to add these together, and then we need to know how many packing tables we need. And sterile store, 1.9 people.
I think this is very complicated.
Yeah.
But go back to the design of planning. Is this in the standard mentioned related to the OR, number of OR or number of beds?
Compared to machines.
Machines or the size of the unit?
Okay.
CSSD.
Yes.
What was the size of the 500 square meter?
The size is that was, we had a page about that. Here it is. So here is the area of the CSSD that is needed according to this French guideline. They estimate 200 to 300 beds. We need 1.95 square meters per bed. Then you get the area of the CSSD. What I calculate is how many machines and how many people. So that is not, our calculation do not say the area.
Yeah, but let me ask you. Before you calculate the size, the number of machines and people according to the number of operations. Now you are calculating it with the number of beds.
You can go either surgeries or you can go beds. If you put in beds, then the program calculates how many surgeries that corresponds to. Or you enter the surgeries per year, and then you will enter the beds manually. So you can go either way.
Yeah, but you didn't agree with me that some hospital are 200 bed hospital, but it doesn't do that much of operation.
But that we will see when we do how many surgeries.
No, but you don't have, number of operating rooms. Some, nowadays they do the day surgery. Maybe 50 bed hospital, but they have 12 operating rooms. And there is another hospital that's 200 bed, and they have only 3 or 2 operating rooms.
But that is shown immediately when you do the check figure. Because when you do the check figure and enter the 3 ORs, you need to have kind of 4 operations per OR per day. So from the background, it will be correct anyway.
Yeah, but that's mean you have to do it in both sides and you come.
So if you have 3 operation rooms instead of 12, you will have 4 times less operations per year. So to get the check figure 4 operations per OR per day, it will be much less washers in that case. So I need to reduce number of surgeries per year to the 3 OR. Because you have 3 OR times 50 weeks per year times 5 days per week. So 3 times 50 times 5. That is how many surgeries we have per year. To have times then it will be solved since you will have 4 times less surgeries in the 3 ORs. Otherwise, the figure would be too large. It would be 10, 12 OR per OR per day if you have the same figures. If you enter the same surgeries, and you have 3 OR, you will have 4 times higher operations per OR per day, times 12. 4 times 4, 16 operations per OR per day, so it will not work. So then you need to squeeze down the figure to the 3 OR. Otherwise we will not have a good check figure. So that will be solved in that way.
Special cases. And this is maybe to decide on not the size of the
No,
machines, it's size. It's related. I mean, if you have more machines, You can have more bigger space.
Yeah, you can predict size or space of the CSSD depends on the number of them.
Yes.
Because number of them reflect how much meters. But it's very difficult. Then we cannot say each, yeah, we have to study case by case. Each hospital we have to decide, then we go back to design. If we have these figures and we fix it and we go for their bed, this size, then we will decide this size. Then even we need 3 machines, but because of the size, it give us more. Then we'll make it 4 or 5 or machine. And in the operation, we will not. We have to we bring 2 or 3 machines and leave the other space for the future expansion.
But from 200 bed, is it pediatric, 200 bed, or it is a general trauma center? It is different.
But you can make
Yeah, it should be there, but how we come to this range? I'm sure there is something that's been figured.
In this optimized calculation that I use, there is no area calculated here. We calculate washers, sterilizers, cart washers, sterile store size. We have to make wash trays, wash cartridge, basket and trays, also how much we need, and how much detergent, but no area.
But you need the data. Are we going to use a basket or was it using the data? Or are we, how many operating room and what kind of operating room? Is it a general one or is it something that's in ortho or?
But that affects the thing directly.
All of it is
Yeah,
information.
you can do general surgery and general medicine, but it's not a deep calculation. The intake stuff, you don't get better results than the intake quality. So you can just take 200 beds general surgery, 200 beds medical surgery, and you will get direct results. If you want to go deep, you will say 50 beds orthopedic, 20 beds of eye surgery, 50 beds of hernia repair or whatever, and then you get figures of that. So it depends on the intake, how good quality you get from the most.
We cannot fix it for now because of the future. Should be some flexibility in the design. We take it accurate by the because usually operating need to change.
Renovation, maybe it's just a renovation or and you need to do a new devices for a new hospital, maybe you go for that.
That's what our experience.
So basically, yeah, I don't have so much time. Yeah, no problem. Sorry. Yeah. Constraints like packing area. What do you mean? Size. Size is not covered in this program, area-wise. So we don't have the area as a feature. We have how many people, how many machines. That is what we have. The area is not covered, unfortunately. That would be great, of course, but we have, this is some features. Sorry? You mean that if you know people, you can estimate area? You mean that with this figure,
I can add constraints.
Like the limitation. Means that we can give you that maximum I have 400 meters. You can also can help you with
this not really.
For the maximum area that the hospital will give you.
Yeah.
The hospital will give the company or the mushroom, they will give you this space.
Yeah.
Make it easy.
Yeah.
I know the space, but can this help? I think this can help my experience.
I mean, basically, what we do this calculation, I simulate machines, and then we try out the area. Most of the time, we fix it. What will happen if we are tight? The stereo will be smaller. Maybe we have a stereo for one time the daily production, not 2.2 to 2.5. The most important is that the functions is working, the washing disinfection area, packing area. The stereo is often burnt, reduced, and label can have storage at the OR. Also, reusable linen inspection is quite often moved to the basement or the laundry. So that is the flexibility we have, that we move away functions, maybe staff shifts, and that we reduce the sterile store. And most of the time we will create a good CSSD. Sometimes they may be tight though. But to remove the soil reception room, take away that function, and you enter directly into the washing disinfection area. You might even take away the sterile dispatch, the room where you put the trolley with the goods, remove that and have that part of sterile store. So you do small remove functions basically to be able to fit those four.
I think we should mention that we normally do two different versions of the drawing. So we could make one that is the perfect scenario, but we always know that perfect scenario is always the reality. So then we will make one drawing for you that is actually the reality within your department if you have limits of how you can move the walls, etc.
Can I have a simulation for this one?
Yeah, I mean, the software, yes, but we also need to provide you with the training on how to use the software. Absolutely, but that's okay.
But this is a genetic software. It's nothing that we sell to customers. We do calculation free of charge for everybody, no problem, but we don't sell the software. This is our own software that has been developed for many, many years. It's probably up to 8-10 years totally in development. We have the old software and then we improve it by adding the containers and other features. So this is nothing that we sell. This is what we use our own designer and so on, and the agents designed to get and use this tool. Free of charge, so we can do calculation for anybody, no problem, but we don't give away the software. That is something to point out. Okay, so any questions about this tool? Is there any? So basically, this first page is the key. You see the washer, how many is needed, card washers, sterilizers, how many people, and here we have how many hours per day we work and how many days per week, and electric or house heat. This is affected. So this is the key, simple part, and then we can go very deep if we like. If we don't like, we can just use the first page, 17,000 operations, that's it, or go very, very deep into each kind of surgery, general surgery, orthopedic, blah, 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 how many inpatient, outpatient surgery, and go very deep, or very shallow. And we do see how many spray baskets is needed, or in containers exactly in the numbers, also how many washing parts that's needed, and detergents. So it's quite a lot in there to help the designer to design the perfect system. Yeah. So that was the calculation. So what I do as a designer, I always do the demand calculation to show how many machines. We do the 2D plan in AutoCAD to give away, and the room list. Also, sometimes we do the 3D renders, pictures, and we do have a flying. We can animate and see how the system will look like before we build it. That's a quite nice tool that we have, so we can fly over. You recognize these course. So now we have the cart washer there, solar. So here we can really go down, walk like or fly over there and see how it looks like. So here is the washers we discussed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 large washers, the sound and storing barriers, packing tables, and the sterilizer barrier. In the sterile store, that is not much the sterile store with automatic unloaders, trolleys. Here's a small washer for eye instrument that they use. That is relatively common to have a separate small for eye instrument, so we don't get part of the bowl in the instrument, the eye, in the lumens. Then it's sometimes preferred to have that separate washer for these delicate eye surgeries. The packing area with windows, as we discussed, and automatic loaders to the sterilizer, together with the low temperature sterilizers over in the top here. And that is actually made shorter than low temperature sterilizer. This is with formaldehyde in this case. And here is the vacuum pump moved out in that room. Staff rest, clean material store in this direction. Offices is over here to get the customer in. And a staff change here, the female and the male one here. And here we have unwrapped with the clean material, so we get the waste away, and then the material goes down here. And maybe even nicer is when we actually walk in the system. It's better overview to fly over, so to see all the items, but it's nice to see the walking. So now we enter the wash disinfection area. And we see the sinks already here. Wash cart, the trays. A separate washer to the extra soil items. Pre-wash before the big ones, not so common, but and then return the wash carts, the empty ones, and then loading on the washer. Quite a lot of wash trolleys here. And here is with the eye instruments, cart washer. Of course, the basket container and trolleys. So we go backward into the return against the dump chamber. So one is open and one is closing here to keep the pressure. And we enter the packing area with the blue door. So here are some trolleys for paper. We have paper here, not visible, to wrap the trays. Some printers for the traceability system. And computer screens with barcode scanners, computers. And sterilizers in the end here. sound absorbing barrier here, sliding doors, a sealer. This place only have baskets, by the way. They don't use